name is Christina.
And my name is Andrei.
And we hope you liked the introduction to this video, which is about our travels to West Virginia during autumn.
Yeah, we visited West Virginia a couple of times and we really liked it.
Actually, maybe more than that before. I guess in this video we'll have footage of our most recent times, but we visited before as well.
Yeah, so we camped and visited many attractions, but West Virginia, what impressed us was the nature.
Yeah, it's very wild, and I guess there aren't that many tourists there, which we really like. We just really like visiting places that don't have a lot of tourists, especially when in nature. We have all these national parks in the US that are just packed with people. But West Virginia, I guess it's a poor state, and I don't think a lot of people visit it except like local people. So you'll have a lot of local people there, but not.
Yeah, they go mostly fishing or hunting. But I would say it's mostly local people that we met in campgrounds.
And those two videos that you saw in the beginning, one was Bear Rocks, which is in Dolly Sods, which we have a video actually up of. But in this video, we'll show a few more things what to do in Dolly Sods, but most of it is covered in the first video. So you can click on that.
Which you can check out.
And the second video that you saw was Grandview Overlook. It's this overlook basically that if you go in the morning, right before sunrise, usually there's clouds that cover the mountains. There's this river that goes through the mountains, which is why it's covered in fog, mist, clouds. Yeah,
they basically float along the river, and during sunrise just provides a spectacular view.
And when we were there was nobody there. I don't know why. It was like a Friday, I think.
I mean, we weren't that early there either. Like it was between 7 or 8 a.m. and still no people. And it was the prime time of the season in autumn.
And once the clouds dissipated, we left, and that's when people arrived. It was really weird. But yeah, if you want to see this dramatic overlook, that you're feeling that you're above the clouds, definitely go check that place out. And these next videos, which we'll show, will be about this Bear Rocks overlook, which is a great place to see the sunrise in Dolly Sods. Basically, we camped overnight in Dolly Sods, and Dolly Sods is actually not too far from Washington, D.C.
Just like 3 hours or something.
So a lot of people from that area visited this place, actually. It's probably the most popular, maybe, area in West Virginia that we've been. Yeah,
it's perfect for one-day trip, although it entails like driving 6 hours back and forth, probably.
But a lot of people do that, so keep that in mind. That it's probably going to have more tourists than the other places that we mentioned. And yeah, so we woke up really early when it was still dark. It was extremely cold. It's good to go in early October, by the way, to see the autumn in West Virginia, or late September, depending on which areas of elevation.
Yes, so the Bear Rocks is on top of a mountain, and it provides this beautiful overlook on Canaan Valley. But because, as Christina mentioned, it's on top of the mountain, and there are basically no plants or shrubs, just some shrubs, blueberry shrubs.
And it's windy because of that.
It's very windy, and we had to put lots of layers going there. We knew that it's going to be cold.
Yeah, but the sunrise was very nice. And yeah, you have to find your way through the dark to get a good spot, but there will be usually people there. So.
And there are trails, so they're marked so you can see where you're going.
Yeah, it's not like scary at all because there are no trees.
And you can see, like in the distance, small villages or cities. And also you have a fog that very similar to Grandview, but a little bit farther. It's also floating along the river, I believe, or just the clouds and fog. So it's really spectacular. Make it very spectacular.
And if you go on a clear day, you'll see the Milky Way, definitely. We saw that a little bit.
Yeah, we saw a moon. It was rising, and then with the sunrise disappeared.
And stars.
But it was there, stars, yeah.
next videos that we'll show you will be of some things that we filmed in Dolly Sods during our hikes there. And we actually went on 2 hikes. One is really close to the campground, so you can walk from the campground, and it's pretty short. I think it's called Blackbird Knob Trail, and that was a nice hike. And,
it went through the forest and spruce trees and
and the one place that we really liked, actually more than another hike that I'll just mention, where you cross the river.
Oh, that's right.
The Red Creek.
Red Creek.
There's like these long steps of rocks.
Stones, rocks, yeah.
And yeah, we'll show some
footage of that.
And another hike that is pretty famous that we went on, it's really long. I don't remember, like 8 miles maybe.
It was really long. It took us almost like more than half a day. And
it consists of several trails. I think it starts in the Bare Rocks trailhead, and then it continues. And so at the end you reach this like view of the valley again. So we were there I guess after rain or something like this, and I remember it was so wet, and actually there were very few places that you can actually go through without getting wet. We actually got wet, even though we took the trail that is supposedly less muddy than another one, but it was nice.
But luckily there were other people with us, so we didn't feel lonely.
But when we did the entire thing, we figured out that the best part of the hike is probably like halfway. You reach this like one tree. There's this overlook of this one tree. Before that,
you climb on top of the hill, and then there's overlook of like
this field,
meadow, I guess,
and one tree. It looks really nice in the autumn because everything's red because of the blueberries, blueberry bushes. And before that, you cross another river at forest. It's very beautiful, but after that, it's just very much of the same. There were some spots that we liked. Again, forests and.
But we were there at that time. It was very dry during the autumn, so the leaves kind of fell before we actually arrived, or they were very discolored, I guess.
You can't predict the weather, I guess, but but it was still beautiful. But I would recommend, like, next time we go, we'll only reach that tree and go back, and we won't be as tired, and we'll still see the best things about that hike. And now we'll show you some more things that we saw in Dolly Sods that we took videos of when we visited last time, so please enjoy.
So yeah, we stayed in a couple of campgrounds. We moved from one to another, and those campgrounds were really well kept. I think they were mostly, so the one in Dolly Sods, it's managed by National Forest Services, and actually I think all of them are National Forest Services. And we actually really like them. They're well maintained, well kept.
You get a good space.
Yeah, you have like people it's not crowded, so people
surrounded by like forest.
Yeah, they're separated from each other, so it's not noisy.
There's a restroom that's covered, so there are no showers though.
Yeah. And one trick that we did when we arrived, we actually didn't bring firewood with us. So I can't remember whether you can or not.
Yeah,
you can, I guess, gather firewood. But one thing that we did, because many people leave and then they for example, from previous days, they didn't burn everything. And so they leave in the campground, in fire pit, lots of wood, firewood. And we just, make a circle, pick up whatever people had left.
Make sure that they did leave, right?
Right, so it's not... we
check the labels because everyone has a label on their campsite. So.
Yeah, so... and then after that, whatever was left, we just picked up. And actually, not a single day we bought anything. Like, we didn't buy anything, any firewood in stores. We used whatever people left or gathered.
That's because we didn't really cook much. We just needed to boil some water. Usually that's it. So we
for
didn't need
tea
much.
or we did a little cooking, I guess, our first times there. But yeah, so we were mostly using it for fun, just warm up in the evenings and just stare at the flame. And
in another campground, I think it's River Campground or something. It used to be free. It's not free anymore, but
can you imagine there are used to be free campgrounds? Like everything is well maintained and it's free, but not anymore.
Yeah, but it's campgrounds. They're not expensive. But I think the one in Dolly Sods was the most expensive that we were in, but it wasn't that much. But
the most expensive one was Seneca, I believe. We stayed there once, and it was pretty pricey.
Yeah, I would suggest if you want to cut down on costs, not to stay in the Seneca campgrounds because they cost like $25 or $30 per person or something per night. It's pretty expensive. And
you're very close to other people. So I didn't feel like I was in the nature. I felt like I was in some sort of zoo. While in other like Dolly Sods, you're actually some sort in a forest. So you have trees around you, and so you don't see other people, and they're far away. And it's like 2 times. It's like half the price of the Seneca. Yeah.
And it's maybe even more, but near Seneca Rocks is Spruce Knob, which is another great place to visit, and they have campgrounds, so you can also stay there. And yeah, I was continuing on with the River Campground that used to be free. There was a man, he actually gave us free firewood when he was leaving. So sometimes you can get people to give you the firewood. Because they don't need it anymore.
Or he saw we were gathering something and he didn't.
Yeah, but he said he didn't need it.
He didn't need it, so
he wanted to give us even more. But and another campground we could mention is Red Creek Campground, which was really nice as well. You get a huge space to yourself in front of the river. I think that was my favorite campground that we were in West Virginia.
Yeah, I think so too.
And another thing about it is it was autumn, early October, and there was this tree. It's by the restroom, but it's like in a field, and there were apples falling, and there were a lot of them on the ground. They were spoiling, so no one was eating them. So they were just going to waste, except for like the insects. But they were really, really good apples.
Yeah, it wasn't a wild apple. Somebody planted it on purpose, but
it tasted good.
Yeah, nobody. It wasn't exactly by the restroom, but a little farther. That's how I noticed. But we gathered lots of good apples, and we had
a lot of apples because the tree is huge,
and nobody picks them up.
Yeah, so it was kind of like campground costs a bit, but we got so many apples from it, so that kind of covered our costs. And then we had this amazing view in the morning that we'll show you in the future, in an upcoming video, in this video. And another campground is by the Grandview Overlook, the time lapse in the beginning. So you saw in the Grandview, there's this river that the mist is covering, but by the river there's a campground, and I don't really remember it. It used to be free. I think it was free when we visited. But the one downside to it, it's a great campground. It's by the river. It has nice views. There are 2 downsides. One is that there's a train that runs right by the river. And because it's right by the river, it's really loud, and it runs several times. So
it was free. I remember now. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a big downside. Even with earplugs, we could hear it. And another downside, there are a lot of flies by the river. Yeah. But other than that, it was a great place to rest, and it was free, so what can you expect? And we chose it because we wanted to drive as little as possible to the Grandview Overlook to see the sunrise. Some extra places that we didn't show in the video, but we liked. There's Snowshoe that we drove past.
Yeah, it's a ski resort. Well, probably there's not much to do there during summer, but it's a nice place just to pass through, and they have overlooks.
Yeah, it's right on top of the mountains, so you get this panoramic view of the mountains, which are really nice when it's autumn. There's also Blackwater Falls State Park, and I think it's like $2 to get in, but it was free when we visited, and it also has some great overlooks there.
Yeah, it was quite nice. You had to like go downstairs. There's like a boardwalk with stairs, and you go all the way up to the waterfall, and it's really beautiful in autumn.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to do in that place. And also Seneca Rocks. There's the Seneca Rocks, we didn't hike those rocks, but a lot of people climb the rocks.
Yeah, they do rock climbing. And there's a Seneca Campground that we mentioned before. It's located right there. And
nearby is Spruce Knob again. There's this really nice hike right on the peak of Spruce Knob. I forgot what the name of it is, but we'll mention all of what we're discussing in the description below, by the way. So.
And there's also windmill. It was in the Blackwater Waterfall Park. The wind.
No. That's Babcock State Park.
Oh, Babcock. I confused that.
Yeah, yes. we'll mention it like in a few minutes. So just to tie in the Spruce Knob, the hike that on the peak that you'll see the name of right now. It has this beautiful pine forest covered in moss. That was amazing. I would definitely want to go back there one day.
It looked like a fairy tale of some sort.
And then Babcock State Park with the windmill. We didn't really like that.
I mean, it's just a windmill, like a building structure. And
it wasn't like the river was shallow. It was flies.
Yeah, there was nothing spectacular. I guess
wasn't well maintained at all.
Yeah, I guess it's just kind of like a bucket list when you visit West Virginia. But
I expected something better. So I don't know. There's nothing really nice besides it.
People, photographers go there like probably early morning and take this like over-edited, beautiful pictures that look beautiful on a picture of that place, but when you visited it, it's nothing.
Yeah, I have a nice photo of it, but I mean, looking at the photo, it looks nice, but remembering being there, it's not that nice at all. There's also the bridge in West Virginia.
Oh yeah, the New River
Gorge
Gorge bridge that's famous. It's made of steel. It's like one of the longest bridges used to be that spans. I forgot why it was considered famous, but I think it's like closed every year on some date in September or October.
It was like a few days before we visited.
Yeah, and people do the bungee jumping. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's a lot of places in West Virginia, and this is just a few of them that we saw. There are plenty more, and yeah, we hope you.
There's one more place that we forgot to mention: the Greenbrier, Greenbrier
resort, or
not the resort, but that technological.
Green Bank.
Green Bank.
Greenbrier is another place in West Virginia. It's a hotel.
So Green Bank is another place that we wanted to mention. It's a observatory. So they have this like huge satellite dish. I think it's like one of the largest.
Telescope.
Yeah, and it's located.
Searching for aliens.
Yeah, it's located in a rural area. And I believe you can have Wi-Fi then the cell phones don't work, so it doesn't interfere with the research that they're doing there. And they have a visitor center, then you can actually buy a tour and tour it. We didn't do that, but we just casually came by, took a few photos and moved on.
I mean, if you're into that, you can do the tour, but we just were passing by. And so West Virginia is really beautiful during autumn, and probably other times as well. We've only been there during autumn, so it's really great place to visit because it's relatively unknown. And so check out, keep watching to see some more videos from that. We hope you like this video, so please like and subscribe for more.
Yep, see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.